Hi everyone, today we're going to do a shoulder and core workout. So you'll need a couple of light dumbbells if you've got them, or you can improvise with whatever you have. I've got actually 3 sets, but if you've only got one, that's absolutely fine. And then we're going to do a few bits on the mat. So I'll just adjust the camera angle when we do that. So I'm just going to start off with a nice easy warm. So warming up our arms. We'll start with some circles. Over the other way. Lovely. We're going to reach our arms in front. We're just going to squeeze our shoulder blades back behind us. Lovely. And then we're going to make a W. So we're going to reach our arms up. We're going to squeeze our elbows in towards our ribs. Reach up. So I want you to try and use your muscles to move. So we're not just waving around. We're trying to squeeze our muscles down as we bring our arms in. Okay, so a little roll of your shoulders. And then we're going to start off with our lightest weights. So we're going to do some rotation. So we're going to keep our wrists still. Our elbows are going to be locked into our sides, and we're just going to take our arms out to the side. So you can do these with nothing. So what we're doing here, we're working into our rotator cuff, which are the muscles that rotate our shoulders. Lots of little joints and muscles in our shoulder. Doing mobility exercises like this. After that, we're going to do a Cuban press. Okay, so just have a little tiny rest. Okay, that's better. Right, so a Cuban press. We're going to take our elbows up. We're going to rotate our arms. We're going to press up to the ceiling. We're going to come back down. And then we're going to rotate. And slowly. While I'm pressing upwards, I am not allowing my rib cage to flare. So I'll show you that's what that would look like. So I'm taking my chest forward. I want to keep it tucked in as I press. And that way, we're going to keep the work in our shoulders, keep our core nice and stable. Ability. And if you have got a little weights on you, feel everything is working out, which is great because this is our warm up. Lovely. And then last one we're going to do is just reach up and forwards. And we're just going to squeeze dumbbells or our fists together. And then we'll kind of keep your torso stable. Just going to adjust the angle a tiny bit. All right, so we okay, so we're going to start again with our rotation. So elbows locked in, we're going to take our arms up to the sides. Just keeping your wrist strong and straight. You may find that you can only go here. If your shoulder mobility is not great, you may be able to go out wider than me. As long as you can feel that as you open your arms, your shoulder blades are squeezing together at the back, then you're doing it right. Fabulous. And then into our Cuban presses. So we're going to lift our elbows, rotate, press, keeping your ribcage down, down. Press. one. All the noises my shoulders making. We're going to come into our and then we're going to do one more set of each. So we're going to start off with our rotation. So just coming to the side, coming out. So keeping your wrist strong, elbows pinned to your waist. So you don't want them to come out at all. Warm up for your shoulders. Even if you don't have any weights, you can hold like cans. Probably about the perfect piece. Fab. So we are going to go into our cubins. I'm going a little bit faster this time. It's easy to do that when your body's going, I don't like these anymore. Lovely. And then we do our front raises and our arc. Lovely. Okay, so that's our warm-up done. So we can pop these away. And then what we're going to do is come into a kneeling press. So I'm just going to come down onto the floor so you can see me better. Lovely. Okay, so you're going to take one leg out to the side. Your dumbbell is going to be in the opposite arm. And then you're going to press up to the ceiling. You're going to keep your elbow tucked in fairly close. And you're only going to let your elbow come to here. We don't want your elbow to drop all the way down. So you're going to keep the tension in your shoulder the whole time. The other thing you're going to be mindful of is your rib cage. So you can always hold and see if it's moving. So it will look like that if you are not keeping your rib cage down. So we're just going to press and lower. I'm feeling these already. Cool, so we're going to go 8 to 10. If you have a weight that you feel you're starting to lose your form as you go, once that form goes, please take a rest, because we don't want to injure our shoulders. They're so delicate. I've injured mine a couple of times and it is not the best, because you don't realise how much you need them until they don't want to work properly. But it's also why it's good to keep them strong by doing exercises like these. Perfect. We're going to come into an upright row. So I'm going to stay kneeling so that you can see me rather than adjust the camera. So we're going to take our dumbbells just under our chin. Our elbows are going to be nice and high. Okay, so we're going to keep our torso still, keeping that rib cage tucked down. So if I show you from the side, I'm not moving my upper body. Obviously I'm moving a little, but I'm not leaning back to bring them up, and I'm not using momentum. So we don't want to be throwing the dumbbells up. We want to be using our muscles to lift. Lovely. And again, we'll go 8 to 10. Wonderful. All right, so we're going to just switch between these two. So one leg forward. This is going to create that work in your core. Elbow is going to be slightly up, and then press it up in front. I realise I haven't given you a rest. So if you do need a rest, you can of course take one. Pause this anytime you need to catch up. or if you're feeling it, just stick with me. Lovely. Other side. Okay. Good. You might find one side is easier than the other. Occasionally just check in with your ribs, make sure that you're not flaring. Perfect. And then give your arms a little shake if you need. And then come into the upright row. So dumbbells touching, elbows high and wide, and then hands just coming under your chin. These are great for building strength in your upper body. I love them. So another thing I was going to talk to you about was rib cage flaring. So if you have been pregnant, you may notice that your rib cage changed. Obviously to allow space for your baby, your rib cage gets wider and it doesn't always go back down afterwards. But what can help is from doing exercises to work your core and keep your rib cage down in exercises when you're breathing. So as you're breathing, obviously your diaphragm will lower, your pelvic floor will lower, it comes back as you breathe out. But also if you think that your rib cage and your hips are connected, so we want to bring this in, so we want to keep this nice and tight as we're working to help draw those ribs back in. Obviously it takes time, and if it's not something you worked out after having a baby, it's going to take that time still to create that core connection back. So I always love, whenever I do an exercise, just to make sure that I'm not lifting my rib cage as I move my arm in any way. So you can just get in touch with like feeling what that feels like as you move, you know, how your rib cage moves. So it might be something to think about as you work. So we're going to come back into our kneeling press for the last time. So again, maybe just check how your rib cage is moving as you do these. Lovely. And then other side. If you want for balance, you can always pop your arm out to the side. I know this is a bit of a wobbly one, but I love it because anytime you're challenging your balance, not in a silly way, like standing on a Bosu, I don't really think that's a great way to train, but anytime that you're using your balance like this, then you're going to be working your core. Here we go, one more. Lovely. And then into your upright row. Wonderful. So 8 to 10 of these, and then we'll change. I'm going to stop at 8. I think that's enough for those. Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to do some lateral raises, shoulder press, and some flies. So I'm going to change the angle of my camera again so that you can see. Lovely. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go for lighter for the lateral raise. So we're going to take our arms out to the side. So if you remember before, you keep your wrist either in line with your elbow or slightly lower. You're going to keep a slight bend in your arm. So we don't want it to be dead straight, but we also don't want our wrist to come up above our shoulder, elbow. Okay, so I'm going to do both sides at the same time. So lift and lower, using your muscles, not momentum. So you don't want to be doing this, because one, that's not keeping your rib cage engaged, and it's not working your muscles. If you're throwing the weights around, you're using momentum rather than working your muscles. Lovely. So that's our lateral raise. We're going to come into a shoulder press. So I'm going heavier for these, but you can stick with whatever you've got. Again, rib cage down, elbows 90, press up and down. Depending on your shoulder mobility will depend on how high and straight you can press. So carry on if you wish, you can take a little rest. Not everybody can get their arm here. Some people are here. So if you've got a heavy weight in your arms here, you're just gonna put so much pressure on your shoulder. So if you can't get into that straight position here, then I would go lighter. Okay, so I think we've got 4 more. It might be more, but I'll go for 4 this time. Lovely. Okay, and then, oh yes, some flies. So I'm going to go lighter for these again. So what we're going to do is have our elbows. We're going to bring our elbows in together. Sorry, we're going to touch the dumbbells and then we're going to take them out. So this is working your chest as well as your shoulders. So squeeze your elbows together. That is going to work into your chest. And we always want to work our chest because that gives us perky boobs. So it's always good. But also we want to be balanced as well. So you don't want to just work on your back muscles and your shoulder muscles without working your chest too, right? Because otherwise we'll just end up either too much like this or too much like this. So we want some balance. Cool. So giving you a little rest, we're going to go back into our lateral raise. Okay, so when you're ready, you're going to lift. Just being mindful the elbow slightly higher. Trying to keep your, just checking, because in the camera angle it looks like my wrists are coming higher, but when I look here I can see that they're not, so hopefully you can see that too. So you feel my shoulders working now. Lovely. Okay, so I'm going to come into your press. Lovely. So keep your rib cage down, so engage your core. Don't let you flare or your rib cage flare as you press up. Feeling those now. I love it. Okay, and then last one is our chest flies. So we're going to squeeze our elbows and dumbbells together, out and squeeze, out and squeeze. Lovely. Okay, so give yourself a little roll. We've got 1 more set of those and then we'll go onto the floor for our core work and then we will be done. Okay, so last set of lateral raises. So just being mindful of that position. You can always have a little check on your own body that your elbow and your wrist are in line as you lift. I feel my traps engaging now. That means my shoulders are tired. Cool. I'm going to go to 8. If you want to do more, that's all good. Right, so last set of shoulder presses. Big breath. Cool. So keep your core engaged as you press. Your last 2. Lovely. And then come on down. Last set of flies. So if we start here, that gives us our good position. Elbows in, out, in. And with your breathing, either breathe how you like or try and breathe out on the effort. These are getting really tough now. Last one for me. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so we're going to come down onto the floor. We are going to do dead bug, a crunch and reach, and a figure of 8 through our legs. So I'll show you what they look like. I'm just going to pop the camera angle lower. There you go. Wonderful. Okay, so with our dead bugs, you can use a little weight if you wish. You don't have to. So what we're going to do is take, I've got one, you can use two, or none, of course. Okay, so in our dead bug, we're going to engage our core. We're going to tuck our tailbone underneath. So you're going to press the small of your back into the floor. So opposite arm, opposite leg. So add in the weight here, just gives more shoulder work. And if you're like, nah, no thank you, I don't want to do that, that's absolutely fine. You just go with what feels good for you and your body today. Just take it nice and slow. I do like doing these with weights, so you can definitely feel, as well as working your shoulder, it does work your core a little more. Do one more on each side. Lovely. Okay, so now we're going to take our legs up. If your hamstrings are tight and you can't have your legs straight, I know a little bit tight today, you can have your knees bent if you wish. So what we're going to do is tuck our head and look in between our legs. So this is going to engage your core already. And then just check that you've not got a dome in your abs. So you might see one if you lift your top up. So we're just going to keep that there, and then what we're going to do is just reach, keep looking in between your legs. You can look up slightly, but we just want to keep the pressure off our neck. So our head is really heavy, so if you're hanging it here, not going to be very long before you get really tired. So if you can tuck it right in, then it's going to feel a lot more comfortable than if you're just letting it hang. But of course you can do them like this. You're just going to reach your shoulders up. So just see how it feels for you, okay? So last few. Lovely. And then our figure of 8 through our legs. So you can use a pillow, a ball, or a little weight. I'm just grabbing my tiny one. So again, we're going to come into that tucked position. So tailbone is tucked under, lower back pressing into the floor. And then I'm going to keep my gaze through my legs so that my head doesn't feel too heavy, and then I'm just going to scissor my legs and pass the dumbbell in between. So you can use anything, remote control, children's toy, or just imagine you've got something. Make sure you're breathing, swapping hand to hand. Oops, bash mini. Okay, have a little rest if you can feel that's working. I'm going to do one more set and then we'll be done. Okay, so if you want your weights, grab hold of those. If you're not using weights, that's absolutely fine. So just go with what feels good for you. So tuck, press your lower back into the floor, opposite arm, opposite leg. Little rest, and then we're going to reach, so legs up towards the ceiling, so your head and neck can stay on the floor, or you can do little crunches, just checking that you're not getting that dome in your stomach. That's 2. Lovely. Okay, and then grabbing hold of your little object if you're using one, and then tuck yourself up, lifting those legs. So remember, as you lift your legs, you're working your core anyway. And then we're just going to swap side to side. Just a little figure of 8 around your legs. Lovely. Stretching out along the floor, just give those abs a little stretch. So I don't mind now if your rib cage flares, that'll allow your abs to stretch out. Lovely. Come on up. Tell my abs are tired. So we're just going to take our arm across. So just stretching into our shoulder. This might be great for you. If you wish, you can come into eagle arms if you know yoga, palm to palm or back of your hands touching. And then maybe just raise your arms up slightly so that you've got that nice stretch on the back of your shoulders. Perfect. I'm going to swap over sides, so taking your left arm across, elbow tucks in. Either stay there or wrap your arms around. Remember the back of your hands can touch, and then just raise it. Lovely. And then last one, you're going to bring your hands together behind your back, squeeze your shoulder blades, and either take your hands down towards the floor or bring them slightly away. Just check that you're not holding tension in your neck. And then we're just going to hold there. Wiggle side to side just to release. Wonderful. So that is your shoulder workout for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again tomorrow.